Hello, and thank you for joining us for Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the western United States. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. It is Tuesday, February 3rd. I hope your week is off to a good start. Not sure what month it is. We will get to our spring-like West Coast forecasts in a moment, but first, we have continuing coverage on the winter storms that just won't leave the eastern half of the United States alone. The bomb cyclone we told you about yesterday has now passed, but an Arctic blast is left behind. In North Carolina, residents are working to clear the snow after some cities experienced the heaviest snowfall in decades. Here's a look over Charlotte. They picked up 11 inches of snow, the biggest snowfall in 20 years. Icy conditions on the roads are still causing hundreds of crashes. This wild video is circulating online showing the moment a train hit a semi after it got stuck, oh my goodness, in the snow. Wow. That is snow-covered railroad tracks in Gastonia. Luckily, the driver was able to escape and no one was hurt. The National Guard has been deployed to help clear roads and reach isolated communities. Meanwhile, thousands of people across multiple states are without power as temperatures fall, including Tennessee, where some people in Nashville are still without electricity from the previous winter storm. Yes, this is back-to-back winter storms.
There should not be people dying in their homes that are freezing to death.
The Nashville Electric Service does not expect full power restoration to happen until next Monday. The winter storm cleanup continues across the country at a slow pace. In parts of Maryland, concerns are on the rise about safety. Residents in 2 counties say they're frustrated because there's still snow and ice on the sidewalks. As Alexis Wainwright from our sister station in D.C. reports, there's also a debate over when students should return to school.
Cleanup continues across Maryland. One concern keeps coming up with residents: sidewalks, especially in neighborhoods.
It's difficult to clear the sidewalks as there were like 5 or 6 inches of ice on top of the snow. And plus, the snowplow actually put more snow, on the sidewalks.
Heather Jowell's neighbors in Potomac say that makes things extremely dangerous.
Nervous for kids and nervous for pets. You get a lot of traffic here. And when the sidewalks are closed off, you don't want to be in the street. Because some people ignore the speed limit. Most of the sidewalks are done now, but there are quite a few that still need to be done. So you just need to be very careful.
I think the owner already tried to make the surface walkable. So the kids can, maybe be extra cautious walking to school, or the parents can drive them.
Despite the hurdles, Heather Jowell and her son would like to see schools open back up for classes.
At this point, we're missing a lot of instruction. Like AP exams, they don't get pushed back.
But over in Prince George's County, there's a different perspective.
You can't get out. That's unsafe.
Neighbors tell us roads like this one in Upper Marlboro still haven't seen a plow.
You're putting children and adults' lives in danger with them, the possibility of them going back to school with nowhere to stand to wait for the bus.
We checked in with Prince George's County Public Schools. They say several factors go into closure and delay decisions.
In this case, there were a number of water main breaks around several of our schools, and we just didn't feel that, that would have been the safest avenue for bringing our kids back.
Officials say they also considered staffing, including bus drivers who called out because of road conditions.
I think the message is a combination of be patient, help where you can, and use your judgment in whether or not you allow a child to go to school based on the weather condition.
And down south in Mississippi, they too are undergoing cleanup operations, starting with a food drive. Garner Montgomery reports on volunteers who came out to distribute meals after the storms.
The sun was shining bright in this Batesville parking lot Monday, where dozens of volunteers gave out meals to a long line of vehicles.
The sun is a symbol today of, I think, the hope that is being restored in a lot of people right now.
1,000 warm meals handed out to those still without power in Panola County due to the long-term effects of last week's ice storm.
You find other ways to try to survive, and people like this are making your days brighter and warmer and uplifting the community. So we're very thankful for it.
This entire operation is community organized, with local businesses and individuals looking out for their neighbors.
Something like this, it's an easy ask. Go in there and talk to the employees, say, look, we got a big job today for a great cause. Everybody does it with a smile on their face. I wish I could do it every day.
God bless you, bro. It's hard. Both the volunteers and recipients are connected by a disaster with long-term effects.
We actually had a tree go through our house, so right now we're kind of boarded up.
To me, it's like a bomb went off. You know, I still can't get to my house. It's too many trees down and it's too slick.
Batesville residents say the past week brought the community closer together, and while the road to recovery is far from over, they say the community will be stronger once it's all said and done.
All kinds of people coming together with one goal in mind, which is to help people in need. And it has been absolutely incredible for this community to come together.
It really is so good to see everyone uniting in hard times. And of course, we will continue to monitor the conditions in the east, but warmer temperatures throughout the week should help melt the lingering ice and snow. So we will keep an eye on that. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will get to your weather out west forecast, where winter weather is missing and spring-like conditions are widespread. Stay with us. Welcome back to Weather Out West. Let's get to your West Coast forecast now. The West Coast is the polar opposite compared to the South and the East. In fact, the West Coast is hoping for the snow that the East is dealing with right now. So we begin in the Northwest. Let's first go to meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, where the mild weather is leading to foggy conditions in eastern Washington. Thomas?
I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick in Spokane, Washington. A hectic morning here with foggy conditions that developed overnight, but it only hit Spokane County and nowhere else in eastern Washington or North Idaho. It really just hugged a couple trouble spots, including the western side of the county and the I-90 corridor specifically. I'll show you a few of those photos of the affected areas, though as we get deeper into the afternoon, things will start to ease up, and we'll be back to just a mild forecast for the rest of the week. No rain chances until this weekend. Things were really all focused in on the fog. So a bit of a time lapse per se. A couple photos from before sunrise where a look at Riverfront Park revealed just how foggy it is. The clock tower just across the street, draped in some Seahawks colors, but that is all we were able to see there, and a little bit of the pavilion lights, but really fading only a couple hundred feet in the distance. That was before sunrise. Then after sunrise, things really got worse because the sunshine physically illuminates that fog coverage and really the water droplets in the air, just making things seem thicker, and the visibility is dropping. And a couple photos from around the region kind of looks the same because you're just baked in the fog. Highway 2, very low visibility west of Spokane. This was from the South Hill, just barely seeing the sun through that fog layer. Hopefully that fog layer is pretty shallow and should be able to erode away. The temperature inversion not so strong to keep the clouds in place today. So I'm more optimistic for an actually pretty mild forecast this afternoon. Taking a look at things at the skate ribbon, once that fog departs after 10 a.m., it'll still be a bit cloudy through noon and then just mostly cloudy for the remainder of the day. High temperature though of 47 degrees is quite warm for early February standards. And that's where we find ourselves in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and even warmer on the Palouse, into the low 50s for Pullman and Moscow today. Quite warm, and this region did not even get the fog in the morning. So sunshine from the get-go to help temperatures warm up by a couple degrees more compared to Spokane. This is still 10 degrees above average, and this is about where we'll stay for the remainder of the week. Nice big ridge in the jet stream causing a lot of warmth all up and down the west coast. Though I'm eyeing down the next storm system, which appears to be a bit of an atmospheric river or a very similar like setup for those in Washington and Oregon. For Spokane, rain returns this Sunday at the latest. Could get here as early as Saturday night, depending on the timing and the angle of this next storm. So a few days away, those precise details yet to be known. though it did look a lot more likely that rain will be here for Sunday. But notice that weather pattern keeps things pretty mild, so it really didn't matter if it was foggy or sunny or rainy the next several days. High temperatures are going to stay in the 40s, if not warmer. Up to 47 this afternoon, 50 degrees on Wednesday to mark our warmest day of the week. And then the back end, Thursday, Friday, more mild days, just mostly cloudy. And the weekend is when those rain chances pick back up. Should not be tremendous for the region, though it does stay pretty warm. So Saturday night, Sunday, likely looking at rain in Spokane.
Thank you, Thomas. Nearby, Idaho is also facing a mild pattern that's leading to an inversion there. We go now to Hector Mendoza in Boise with the local forecast. Hector.
Well, we start off the week with dry conditions. We'll continue that here for today, and that's pretty much going to stick around through at least Friday. But the biggest thing we're looking at and we're looking forward to is going to be some of the showers that come in, and that's when we're going to see a little bit more of that moisture there, as we're going to have rain here in the valleys with some of the warmer temperatures we're expecting through the rest of this weekend. And then we expect some snow to return for some of those mountain spots here as we look at southwest Idaho. So that'll continue in through early next week. But again, we're not going to see that till we head towards Sunday, and then in through the beginning of next week as this ridge of high pressure just continues to dominate over most of the Pacific Northwest, and that's what's going to keep a lot of the stagnant conditions here. And this is what's going to bring a lot of these beautiful views here, as this is proof of just a beautiful end of the day. This is a look out at Cascade with some of those beautiful colors and some of those clouds. But of course, as you start to climb down in elevation and you start to look at some of the conditions in the valley, we expect hazy conditions as this inversion really starts to strengthen here through today and in through tomorrow. So air quality is going to be something we pay attention to. Some spots already seeing that this air quality is down to the yellow or moderate category. Some spots up further north, we're seeing the unhealthy category for sensitive groups. So that orange category, just a jump up of what we're seeing in portions of the Treasure Valley. But as I mentioned, we are going to continue with the dry, mild, and stagnant conditions here through most of the work week. That also means that we're paying attention to fog as well, and some low stratus and some of those low clouds that'll continue to settle in here. The next couple of days, it'll start to trickle in and increase here through the next couple of days. We'll also see some clearing here through the next couple of mornings, and that's will allow for some of the fog to continue. But we do have those changes that will come along, as I showed you with some of the shower chances there through Sunday. So as we pay attention to some of these 7-day forecasts, we are going to see little to no change heading in through Saturday. But the big changes come along there Sunday and through Monday, with temperatures dropping down about 10 degrees there as we head towards the beginning of next week. But we see lots of sunshine through the Magic Valley. A bit of a different view here for the Boise area, as we'll have mostly sunny skies. We'll start to see these clouds increase here through the next couple of afternoons. Patchy fog will continue to be one of those things that we pay attention to for those people that are heading out early on and through the morning through Saturday. Temperatures, as you notice, not really changing too much. And again, just like we saw for the Twin Falls 7-day, we are noticing that temperatures will start to drop just a little bit as a cold front rolls through, getting closer to some of those average temperatures, but still slightly above there, with some of the mountain spots seeing a bit of a mix depending on how high you climb up, as we are going to see much of those higher elevations seeing a lot more of that snow as opposed to a rain snow mix as you climb down in some of those climb down in elevation. So, of course, we'll pay attention to the intensity and how much and how strong this system is going to be to bring a lot of these showers. That's also going to bring some air that's going to come in, and that's going to bring some breezier conditions, which will really start to mix out this inversion. So it looks like we get a bit of a break there for Sunday and Monday. So clear conditions, but we'll still have some of those cloudy skies with those showers there through the afternoon on Sunday, and then starting to head in through early Monday. A lot of these showers will start to diminish just a little bit more as we head towards Monday afternoon and in through Tuesday. But of course, as this ridge flattens out, that's what's going to allow the chance for some of those rainy conditions and even some of those snow showers in the mountains.
Thank you, Hector. When we come back, warm weather is here in Colorado and Arizona. Our team on the ground in those states is keeping an eye on what that means big picture. That is coming up after the break. Welcome back. We've continuously kept you up to date on the dry and warm weather in Colorado, and that continues for now. Kathy Sabin and Katie LaSalle are watching any potential changes on the horizon from Denver.
Hello from Denver, Colorado. I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin. We have a mild start to the month of February, which is typically one of our colder months and a month we see a lot of snow. But today we might be looking at rain, although we're happy to see moisture in any form. This Tuesday storm will also bring some snow to the mountains, which is a great forecast as our snowpack is running about 56% of average. It's all due to this blocking ridge of high pressure, keeping the storm track north. And with this pattern, which has persisted for the last 60 to 90 days, most of the cold and snow just east of us, moving from the Midwest into the Northeast. And that's where you'll find the travel impacts today in the form of cold and snow. Our cloud deck is moving out. New clouds coming in with a new weather system today. System will track from the northwest to the southeast and bring some light snow showers to the mountains starting this morning. Not enough that we have winter weather or travel advisories, but you will get a little snow to freshen up the snowpack if anybody's headed up that way. In Denver, we have a mix of clouds and sun with a few rain showers this afternoon, mixing with snow off and on, and this will go throughout the evening into the overnight hours. There are a couple of bands of snow that we need to pay attention to, mainly south and east of Denver, where we could see a little bit of accumulation, a half inch or so, maybe a quick inch in areas like Littleton or Lakewood out toward Aurora and Centennial. Not a big impact for the overnight drive or the drive in the morning, but it's something that we're paying attention to. So we will start in the 30s this morning, climb to the low 50s by the afternoon, a mix of clouds and sunshine with temperatures trending above average all week long. Southwest winds will push our temperatures above average for Thursday, for Friday, and for the weekend. It's interesting in Colorado to be talking about having a Super Bowl party outdoors in February is a little unusual.
I'm 9 News Weather Impact Team's Katie LaSalle. Today, this Tuesday, February 3rd, we are tracking our only chance on the 7-day forecast of picking up some light precipitation. We really could use more snow here in Colorado. Light amounts expected with a rain snow mix in Denver, and then your 7-day forecast in and around the metro area unseasonably mild. Typically, Denver tops out with highs in the 40s, 60s Thursday through early next week. Now, as we look at our Colorado snowpack, unfortunately, still the worst to date on record, sitting at 56% of median. A lot of implications with this, but I want to just give us a little bit of hope, some bright news here as we do see March as Denver's snowiest month typically. So we do see those big snowstorms in the spring impact Colorado, bring in some of that heavier snow. And our last snowfall on date, which was a 1/10 of an inch at least, was in April of last year on the 18th, and then all the way back to May 21st in 2022. So it's not unlikely that we see some late season snow. But on this date, we actually saw a really big system, 8 to 20 inches in and around the foothills, the Palmer Divide, that's south of Denver, and 5 to 10 on average for much of the metro. And as we watch the system today, nothing like that. Light accumulations, little to no snow for Denver. The mountains may see a 1/2 of an inch to an inch, but overall mainly less than an inch of snowfall. The winds will be gusty at times with this weak disturbance, and then it will clear out very quickly. The winds will pick up as we get past 3 p.m. Those light accumulations won't really impact roadways, but from the mountains to the plains, this is our only shot for seeing some moisture, and that will occur through tonight, and then we will see sunshine and dry conditions through the rest of the week.
Thank you, Katie. Some of the warmest temperatures in the country today are in the Southwest. We go now to meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with the forecast from Phoenix. Hi, Ginger.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west, where we are enjoying temperatures that are, wow, getting awfully close to record territory. I think our better chance will be by tomorrow to meet, possibly beat the record, and that's warm air that's preceding a front that, yeah, could bring a smidge of sprinkle activity to portions of Arizona. I don't think it's going to break up tournament play, but hey, it might break up our otherwise pure blue skies. Lloyd and Peoria sending me this photo of one of our desert's locals. Yep, enjoying plenty of sunshine out there today. All right, temperature-wise, we are still seeing plenty of 80s on the board. Look at this, Yuma, 84 degrees. I've got 83 in Gila Bend, 82 in Phoenix. Meantime, upper 60s, Sedona. In February, seeing numbers that are almost at 70 degrees. It lets you know what high pressure is doing to the region here. Keeping our skies abundantly clear. Maybe 2 or 3 clouds through Flagstaff today. Just those thin mid-level clouds, and we'll see some wind, especially in the higher elevations and Bullhead City, because we've got these lows passing through to the north. But you know what else is passing through? The PGA Tour. So there's practice rounds going on. We've, of course, got the Pro-Am tomorrow, and that's the day that I really think we're going to get those numbers up, mid-80s. Now, the record for us at 86 degrees. So we're in that vicinity. Then by Thursday, the tournament gets underway, official play, and we may have some moisture moving through to the north, which possibly could be kicking up some wind. So we'll be watching those pin flags. All right, Futurecast data showing you what I'm talking about. We've got nice clear skies for the most part next 48 hours. But then as we get into Thursday, we're going to start to see a little bit of moisture creeping in from the south. And this forecast model basically just shows the opportunity, not necessarily measurable rainfall, because when I transfer that over, it looks like possible precip in the higher elevations. This is through the rim, I think White Mountains, so the east side of the state, and maybe around Flagstaff. I mean, you're seeing how light this is. This is under a 1/10 of an inch of rain. So it's just basically a blurb on the radar. I don't think we're really getting going with some actual rainfall in the valley until the early part of next week. But of course, I mean, wind will be pushing this moisture through. So that's something we'll be watching. And again, the White Mountains, possibly some showers by about Sunday. This is a system that's coming up from the south. So it doesn't necessarily hit the higher terrain first. It doesn't hit Flagstaff and high country. It just kind of moves in and migrates out. So again, that's again a few days out still. Right now, let's focus on the 80s, shall we? We've got 83 today in Goodyear, 81 in Scottsdale, 82 for Phoenix. As far as where we should be this time of the year, yeah, upper 60s. So we are elevated. I don't think we're going to touch those records today simply because we're going to cap it out at about 82 degrees. And to put this into reference, yesterday's high, 80. So yeah, we're warming up a little bit, but I expect to see the peak of that by Wednesday. Now, higher elevations, your numbers are going to start to come down, leveling off though. I mean, look at this. Next 7 days, numbers in Flagstaff between about 52 to 55 degrees. Here in the valley, we're up to 84 tomorrow, but then we come down slightly with some clouds here and there and some wind. We're back to the 70s by Saturday.
Thank you, Ginger. Warm and dry weather has arrived in the Northwest, so much so that you may get conditions with Portland and San Diego mixed up. We'll have your forecast from Portland and San Diego up after the break. Plus, the mission to the moon is delayed, the latest on the Artemis II launch. A delay in the mission to the moon. Overnight, NASA says a technical issue caused engineers to halt yesterday's dress rehearsal of the Artemis II launch. NASA engineers detected a liquid hydrogen leak during the countdown. This will be a 10-day mission with 4 astronauts who will fly around the far side of the moon, and Earth's gravitational pull will bring them back, where they will then land in the Pacific Ocean off San Diego's coast. Artemis III will be a few years after that, and then astronauts will actually land on the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. With this launch, Artemis II, NASA will wait to launch until everything is perfect, of course, because there are those 4 astronauts on board. It's now expected to be delayed 1 month. They were initially targeting this weekend as the earliest opportunity to launch Artemis II. Now, NASA is targeting March as the earliest possible launch opportunity. We, of course, will continue to keep an eye on that. Back to our forecast now. Dry and sunny weather has arrived in Oregon. Meteorologist Rod Hill is tracking the spring-like weather from Portland.
From the Rose City, it's been our typical morning with a mix of fog and other areas fog-free. Generally, we have stayed above freezing this morning, and we expect a very mild afternoon for this time of the year. I'm Rod Hill. We are watching this weather front offshore. Now, the front itself stays out to sea, but we will get some of these clouds spilling in. And as a forecaster, it's tough to tell if the clouds are going to be thin, allowing filtered sun that really will not hold afternoon high temperatures down, or if the clouds will get fairly thick at times. And of course, that would be impactful on holding temperatures down. Mentioned the fog this morning, haven't had much wind, but we are expecting east winds to slowly return today coming out of the gorge. Now that will keep Portland fog free the next couple of nights, but could also bring some cooler air into the valley, and that also makes temperature forecasting a little difficult. But the bottom line here is that we are all dry today, and it looks like minus any mist with morning fog, all dry into Saturday morning. So really all I have to do is project what the temperatures are going to be. Here's Futurecast. Now this is later today at 6 p.m. Again, will these clouds be thick enough to be impactful, or will they kind of thin out as they come through? It's tough to tell. I do believe once we get into tomorrow and then also on Thursday, we're basically looking at clear skies. Some live cameras for you. This is our Timberline camera. They've got the chairs going up there, still dealing with a limited base of 36 inches, same base being reported over at Mount Hood Meadows. Temperatures at base levels have been above freezing this morning. Pretty shot from the beach. Nook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. This is one of the areas that if the clouds stay fairly thin this afternoon, could get up to 60 degrees. How about that? Our state capital was really foggy this morning, but now that's already lifting out, and you folks will get into some partly sunny skies and should warm easily well up into the 50s this afternoon. It has been no fog in downtown Portland, as I mentioned. Nice partly cloudy morning, and we'll be well up into the 50s today, depending on how much cloudiness we see or don't see. This is what the weather models are projecting mid-afternoon at 3 p.m. From Tillamook all the way down to North Bend along the coast, 60 or better. How about that? And then well up into the 50s up and down I-5, Kelso 58 degrees. Out in the gorge, temperatures held above freezing this morning. This shows the Dalles 51. Hood River will be similar. Those east winds will be starting to kick, as I mentioned. And then Central Oregon, beautiful. It's been sunny over there this morning. This shows Bend getting up to about 60 degrees today. And then we've got 40s and 50s out across eastern areas. And winds will generally be on the light side. Our 7-day forecast numbers, here they come. Headline number one, no moisture chance outside of mist with early fog all the way into Saturday morning. And then we'll see 30s at night. It looks like much of the valley could potentially continue to be above freezing, and then over daytime highs rather up into the 50s. Now, the first chance of rain arrives during the day Saturday in the PM hours. Timing on a front. Is a front come in early Sunday morning? Is it come in later in the day on Sunday? Models differ, so it's hard to tell until we get more exact on that what the rain totals are going to be Sunday. But once rain picks up Saturday, rain at times Sunday into Monday. And then, by the way, we could have snow down to Cascade Passes late Sunday into Monday of next week.
Thank you, Rod. Let us head much farther south to Southern California now. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz is tracking the latest from San Diego.
Well, happy Taco Tuesday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. All right, well, the heat is going to be on repeat for us here in Southern California for the next couple of days as we inch towards the middle of the week. Today, for highs from the coast all the way towards the inland valleys, will be about 10 degrees warmer. The good news is I know a lot of San Diegans, including myself, want to feel that winter-like weather. The heat peaks midweek, and then we'll have, again, a cool down looking ahead to Thursday and Friday. But for now, we're going to be dealing with pretty gusty Santa Ana winds, and we're going to get so warm by the time we get to the middle of the week that we have the possibility of breaking some daily max records. As we take a look at our surf forecast, again, we're dealing with those Santa Ana winds along with the extremely warm conditions, but we're also continuing to deal with high surf. In fact, we had a high surf advisory along with a coastal flood advisory issued for the coastline earlier this morning. It expired, but we'll still continue to have that high surf linger. Sets today for San Diego beaches will be anywhere between 3 to 6 feet, but we could have some of those isolated sets get up to 7 feet. Water temperatures not too bad either. We'll be in the low 60s, but the rip current risk remains at a high level. So of course, we always advise any swimmers, surfers that are inexperienced to stay out of the water during this time. All right, let's go ahead and now talk about the Santa Ana winds along with the very warm temperatures that we're expecting. When we talk about watches, warnings, and advisories, we have a wind advisory, and this is going to take place tomorrow morning starting at 4 a.m., lasting all the way through Thursday afternoon. We'll have the return of those easterly winds, sustained winds, which means it's at a constant of about 15 to 25 miles per hour. Could gust at times anywhere between 45 to 55 or so. And this is going to dry things out, but it could also be damaging. So again, we always like to remind anyone traveling along the passes, the foothills and mountain areas that they should be very cautious driving around those high-profile vehicles. And then even those people who are driving high-profile vehicles maybe want to wait until those winds subside, looking ahead to Thursday and Friday, especially if they're in for long periods of travel. As we take a look at our wind gust forecast here, so this is when the winds start to pick up later on this afternoon around the 2:30 hour, isolated gusts anywhere between 20 to 25 miles per hour or so. And then those winds really strengthen on Wednesday afternoon. In fact, notice that color contour there and pay attention to the purplish reddish colors. And then you take a look at the top right of your screen and you notice that those gusts around those color-coded areas could be anywhere between 40 to 55 miles per hour. So it's pretty widespread, especially when we talk about the inland valleys and the mountain areas, and that's exactly where that wind advisory is set to take place. All right, let's go ahead and now roll up the 7-day forecast. This is for the coast and interior parts of the county. I mean, take a look at that jump in temperatures. Yesterday, we were actually in the mid-70s for the coastal areas. A lot of those warmer spots will top out in the mid-80s this afternoon. We'll get into the upper 70s tomorrow afternoon for the inland valleys. That's one of the warmest days of the next 7, and then we'll gradually start to cool down towards the second half of the week. The mountain areas will stay in this pattern of the 60s. Some of the coolest days will be Friday and Saturday, but we'll stay at a constant mid to high 60s range. The desert areas will be in the low 80s, and then we cool down to the 70s by Friday.
Thank you, Vanessa. Still ahead, the Northwest is paying exceptionally close attention to the weather in Northern California as we prepare to watch the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl in Santa Clara this weekend. Your forecasts from both Seattle and Sacramento are next. Dozens of earthquakes rattled California's Bay Area yesterday morning. There haven't been any reported injuries or major damage, but the shaking was enough to give many residents a jolt. Luz Pena has the story.
Over 30 earthquakes shook this region Monday morning.
It's one of the strongest I've ever felt.
According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the quakes were clustered between San Ramon and Dublin. The largest one, a 4.2 magnitude earthquake, centered in San Ramon at 7 a.m. Employees at Bagel Street Cafe were preparing for the morning rush.
Everything is moving, the doors, the water, the soda machine, everything is very is moving. It's very hard.
How many earthquakes?
5.
Throughout the early morning, dozens of shakes continued to hit this region. There were about 45 people in the pool at the San Ramon Olympic Pool and Aquatic Park.
The first one hit, I actually felt it rolling towards us, and the pool sort of just jumped a little bit, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that was a nice little earthquake. And then maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, the second one rolled through. That sort of was a little bit lower. And then, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes later, the big one hit, and quite a few people felt that one, and the building here, the roof sort of rattled.
The pool crew checked for issues and deemed it safe. Many in this area said they know this is a reality here, with dozens of earthquakes shaking the East Bay in November. The state's Office of Emergency Services is monitoring this activity closely.
There's really nothing that will tell you that there's a larger earthquake on the horizon. I could tell you that anything above a 4.0 is something to definitely keep our eyes on and definitely draws attention to. But again, we have hundreds of earthquakes in our state each year.
And we will continue to monitor that. We now go to Monica Woods with the forecast from Sacramento and Northern California, and hey, maybe the Super Bowl forecast. Monica?
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods, covering all of Northern and Central California, heading into the middle of our week here. Regional headlines for the coast. We have super weather, getting ready for the big game. Patriots versus Seattle Seahawks taking on this weekend's big game. As far as our valley forecast, fog, then sunshine, hazy sunshine for the foothills. Still warm and dry for the Sierra, but we're going to turn things around in our long range forecast, and it's a good thing too. Heading into the second wettest month of the year, we really need to start to turn things around. We've been stuck in this dry pattern across much of California, but things show some improvement by the middle and end of February. Here's a look at the rundown for our water year so far, which, by the way, begins on October 1st. We really had a great start here. We got well above average heading into December. We hit another dry stretch, and then things picked up in late December through early January, which once again put us into the positive territory. But now things are starting to quickly head to the other side, with some cities reporting deficits in our water year so far. Again, for the middle of the week, there's not too many short-term changes. We'll still see areas of fog for the Central Valley that erodes pretty quickly in the mid-morning hours, and that leaves us with ample sunshine. By the time we dig into our longer range forecast, that's when we really start to see things more akin to what we're used to in winter. Likely cooler throughout much of California, and likely wetter as well. This really doesn't start to take shape until we get to the end of our weekend. We'll likely make it through the weekend with dry weather. It's not until overnight Sunday into Monday that we'll start to see a turn to wetter weather. Highs in the 50s for our Tuesday outlook for the Sierra, with 60s, almost 70 throughout the foothills. Traveling into the Central Sierra, highs are going to be in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Central Valley, again, morning fog, afternoon sunshine, and we'll make it into the 60s. Central Coast, it's a toasty one. We're seeing some lower 80s start to pop up in parts of the Central Coast, especially by Morro Bay, San Luis Obispo, Paso Robles at 74, Soledad at 78. We get into the 70s as we start to edge closer to the Bay Area. Santa Cruz up to 71. We're in the 60s as we head into the Central Valley. Bay Area forecast also showcasing some upper 60s to right around the low 70s. Pacifica, 71 degrees for our Tuesday forecast. Big place for surfing there. As we head inland, wine country up to the low 70s. For Napa, a high of 72 degrees. Along the northwest coast, also under this ridge of high pressure, highs in the 60s and low 70s. And we see that in the north end of the valley. We travel into the capital region, a little bit shy of those 70s, seeing them widespread, but we're certainly starting to approach temperatures that are roughly about 5 to almost 10 degrees above average in the mid to upper 60s. And we continue with that trend at least through the end of the work week, starting to see some subtle changes by the time we enter into the beginning of the weekend, but bigger changes unfolding by the time we get into next week. Look at that for the Bay Area. Again, welcoming all the folks that are visiting for the big game. Highs will be in the 60s and low 70s. No rain out there. Should be lovely weather. Our extended forecast for the valley, this is where we start to pop in some of those raindrops by the end of Sunday into the beginning of next week. Certainly a welcome change after this dry stretch. Cooler weather as well heading into next week. But in the meantime, it is warm and dry out there.
Thanks, Monica. Of course, everyone in Washington is paying extra close attention to Monica's Northern California forecast as the Seattle Seahawks prepare for the Super Bowl. Ashley Ruiz has the weather in Washington on this Tuesday from Seattle.
Happy Tuesday from Seattle. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your forecast. We had so much fog this morning, and we're going to have more clouds today. We have a disturbance that's going to brush by, and that's going to just send us more clouds, but temperatures are starting to go up. But we have a ridge of high pressure that's building. That's going to help clear us out and heat us up. Tomorrow it's going to be the warmest day, as well as Thursday, but then we have more changes. This ridge is not going to hold tight for very long, but long enough to bring us a stretch of temperatures well above normal. I'm talking at least 10 degrees above normal. Here's a look at the big picture over Washington. This is what I was talking about. We have a disturbance sending more clouds over the region. We have low clouds, we have mid-level clouds, and high clouds, and it's all because of that that disturbance. But watch what happens as we head into late Tuesday and then especially into Wednesday. That ridge really just amplifies over the region all up and down the west coast, and that's going to bring us dry and mild conditions. But then eventually into Thursday and especially into Friday, it starts to move to the east. It weakens, and that's going to open the door for at least a few disturbances to swing through the area. Now, we're still going to have some influence from that ridge more to our south, so we are going to have some more fog and more clouds to the south of us, where we are going to have more rain in the forecast, but more so Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. But for now, the rain may move into western Washington as early as Saturday about midday, but the timing could definitely change. And then Sunday, if you are going to have any Super Bowl parties, as our Hawks are down in California, we'll have rain around. It's going to be warmer there in Santa Clara, but we are going to have cooler temperatures, but where we should be this time of year. I wanted to show you around Washington because it's been a beautiful morning with the fog, but above that we have the mid-level and high clouds, and then Hurricane Ridge, we have a blanket of clouds. Again, that's all because of that disturbance. Taking you above the fog and the clouds, you see Mount Rainier out and about, but we have all of those clouds just painting the sky. Highs today, well above normal, close to 10 degrees above normal, mid and upper 50s to about 60. And then tonight, our overnight low in Seattle, 48. That is 10 degrees above normal, and that's where we should be in terms of our high temperatures. We'll likely have some areas of patchy fog, if not clouds, but as that ridge amplifies and builds, that's going to help clear us out, and our temperatures are really going to climb rather quickly, especially with a warm start to the day. Around western Washington, we'll have upper 50s, low and mid 60s, so away from the water, so the Cascade foothills and valleys, mid 60s, even closer to the coast, going to be in the mid 60s. Here's a look at the futurecast just to show you how we have a lot of clouds today, but then we have clearing into our Wednesday, maybe some high clouds painting the sky, but really that just makes for a beautiful day. If I have to give my opinion on that, usually brings us some pretty sunrises and sunsets as well. So skipping ahead to Saturday, again, the timing could definitely change. We get one wave of rain, still high snow levels, but then waves of rain Sunday and into Monday. But by Monday, that's when our snow levels should start to come down, but a lot of the precipitation may come to an end. In terms of rain totals through Sunday night, this is just an estimate, but it shows potentially half of an inch up to an inch and a half for Puget Sound. But I mentioned the snow levels, high to start, so above pass level, so Stevens and Snoqualmie Pass, but then by Monday, that's when our snow levels should start to come down. And through Sunday night, a couple of inches of snow, but the highest elevations, as always, will get the brunt of it. So the North Cascades, Mount Baker. This is as of February 1st. The Northwest Avalanche Center issues a climatology report of where our snowpack is versus where it should be. And Mount Baker, 54% of where we should be with that 30-year normal. Snoqualmie Pass, Stevens Pass, Crystal Mountain, less than 50%. And that's much of Washington. In fact, the Cascade Range and the Olympics are well below where we should be this time of year. Hopefully we can get some cooler weather and wetter weather and those lower snow levels. So we'll see.
Thank you, Ashley. Well, as we have mentioned, it is all eyes on Santa Clara as the Seahawks and Patriots square off this Sunday in Super Bowl 60. We will give you highlights from opening night after the break. Super Bowl week is officially underway. It's an East Coast team versus a West Coast team, and we hope all of our West Coast regions are cheering for the Seahawks. We got to hear from players and coaches for the first time since they arrived in the Bay Area over the weekend. Seattle's Drew Andre is in San Francisco. He is going to be in California all week long following the Seahawks to the Super Bowl.
We're here in San Francisco at the Moscone Center, and this is one of the main areas for events throughout the week, like the NFL Experience, which fans can go to. That all starts today. But last night, all eyes were on San Jose over at the Convention Center. You had Seahawks and Patriots. They were all there to answer a mix of fun questions and football questions. If you're a Seahawks fan, you won't love hearing this, but yes, there were questions directed to Coach Mike Macdonald about what decision he would make if it's 4th down on the 1-yard line with the game on the line. Of course, a callback to the last time these two teams met in the Super Bowl. He didn't really bite, just giving some quick diplomatic answers. The event was open to fans who got to be up close with the players. This is the one real chance during the week to hear from the team before they are busy breaking down film and preparing for Sunday. Here's the Seahawks star quarterback and wide receiver.
We're enjoying the moment and preparing exactly the way we would for a regular game.
We're going to do our thing. We feel very confident. You know, we can get the job done and score points. So we're just going to take it one play at a time like we usually do and do our job.
And this week may be extra special for one Seahawk player, offensive lineman Abe Lucas. He is from the Seattle area and went to Washington State. He's a Coug. He spoke to us about this achievement of a lifetime to represent his hometown team in the Super Bowl.
I mean, it's pretty special. It's, you know, sometimes I have to take a step back and kind of think like, wow, like it was me, you know, like I'm the one who kind of was chosen or picked or however you want to call it. I mean, plenty of guys come out of Everett and have come out of Everett and been very, very successful. But for me to be able to do it for the Seahawks is pretty cool.
A pretty neat story there. Okay, there are events throughout the week, but the big one on Tuesday is the Pro Bowl, which will be going on right over there in that part of the Moscone Center. Reporting from San Francisco, I'm Drew Andre.
Joint team appearance coming
So
up
cool
soon.
to see. All right, well,
Probably
the
about
New
another 10
England
minutes
Patriots
or so
also
to
spoke. Here's head coach Mike Vrabel and quarterback Drake May.
As we get ready for the Patriots.
From the beginning of the year and training camp and that joint practice, I was just floored with the joint practice with Washington and seeing the amount of fans. I mean, they were hanging over the stadium to watch us. And I always said that the better that we played and the type of football that we played, that they would enjoy and embrace, and they have. And again, you could see the impact that they made in the playoffs. So can't thank them enough for what they did to send us off with that type of energy.
I think my hero would be probably my older brothers. I think my heroes, just living up, growing up with them, having somebody, that's that close to me, kind of live their own lives and me to just learn from them and be the youngest brother and have the opportunity to kind of have something to chase. I was chasing my older brothers. They all had a passion. I was just trying to find a passion for myself that I could kind of, follow them, and it happened to be football, and now I'm here.
Robert Spillane.
Well, we will continue to follow the sports and the weather as well. If you want more Super Bowl content, Seattle's King 5 has special coverage all week long, every night at 8 p.m. leading up to the game. Streaming, just download the King 5 app on your phone or TV, your smart TV. Watch for free from anywhere. And don't forget, kickoff is 3:30. Well, that does it for us here on Weather Out West on this Tuesday, February 3rd. Thanks for being with us. I'm meteorologist Leah Pizzetti. We'll see you tomorrow.